Welcome back to Athlete Archives. Today we're diving into one of football's most emotional journeys, the story of Fernando Torres. Once a superstar who captured the hearts of millions, Torres rose from a Madrid suburb to the top of world football before it all came crashing down. He was loved, doubted, mocked, and finally redeemed. This is not just about goals or trophies, it's about what happens when the golden boy grows up and the weight of greatness becomes too heavy. This is the story of El Niño. Before the fame and before the headlines, Fernando Torres was just a skinny kid from Fuenlabrada, a working-class town just outside Madrid. He was obsessed with football. He joined Atletico Madrid's academy at just 11, dreaming of playing at the Calderón one day. It didn't take long. By 17, he was already in the first team, and by 19, he was wearing the captain's armband. Atletico had just climbed back to La Liga after 2 long years in the second division, and Torres became their symbol of hope. He wasn't just a prospect, he was their heartbeat. He scored goals that made fans believe again. He played with joy, freedom and courage. They called him El Niño, the kid, because he carried himself with that fearless innocence that makes football beautiful. Atleti fans saw him as family, a local boy leading the club he loved. He became the face of their identity. And while Spain was beginning to take notice, a storm was brewing in England. Liverpool fans were searching for a new hero. In 2007, Rafa Benitez signed Torres for a club record £26.5 million. At the time, that was huge money for Liverpool. Fans were excited, but also nervous. Could a young Spanish striker really handle the intensity of English football? The answer came fast. In his debut season, Torres scored 33 goals. He didn't just adapt to the Premier League, he conquered it. He was fast, powerful, ruthless. He had that killer instinct every great striker needs. And with Steven Gerrard behind him, Liverpool had a partnership that terrified defenders across Europe. Torres and Gerrard understood each other like few players ever do. One pass, one run, one goal. Anfield adored him. His song echoed every weekend. He was pure energy, pure passion. He gave Liverpool fans something they hadn't felt in years: belief. But just as his star was reaching its peak, the injuries began to creep in. Hamstrings, knees, small setbacks that started to add up. For most players, they're just knocks. For someone who relied on acceleration and power, they were devastating. Still, Torres pushed through the pain, desperate to keep that fire alive. Then came January 2011. Chelsea came calling with a £50 million offer, the most expensive transfer in British football history. Liverpool fans were stunned. Some felt betrayed. Torres said he wanted trophies, but for many it felt like their hero had walked away. At Chelsea, everything was supposed to be bigger and better. Instead, it turned into a nightmare. The confidence that had once defined him seemed to vanish. Every missed chance became a headline. Every touch was scrutinised. He went 903 minutes without scoring a goal. For a striker who once lived for the roar of the crowd, the silence was unbearable. You could see it on his face. Frustration, confusion, doubt. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't arrogant, he was broken. His body couldn't do what his mind remembered so vividly, and with every missed opportunity, the pressure of that £50 million tag grew heavier. The media mocked him. Opposing fans laughed. But inside Stamford Bridge, his teammates and coaches saw something different. A man still working, still fighting to prove he belonged.
Good shout for handball. Is it? Fernando Torres in. This could be the most dramatic story of the season. It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has
And then, football delivered its perfect twist. April 24th, 2012, the Champions League semi-final against Barcelona. Chelsea were down to 10 men, clinging on for survival. In stoppage time, a single counter-attack changed everything. Torres broke free, sprinting the length of the pitch. He rounded Valdez and calmly rolled the ball into an empty net. Gary Neville's commentary said it all. That goal didn't erase the years of pain, but it reminded the world who Fernando Torres really was. A fighter, a finisher, a moment maker. Chelsea went on to win the Champions League, and Torres finally had his redemption. He lifted the trophy that had haunted him for so long, and he did it not as the main man, but as the symbol of perseverance. In the years that followed, he added the FA Cup, Europa League, and of course, the medals from Spain's golden era, the World Cup and 2 European Championships. He'd won everything there was to win, but his career had become something deeper than statistics. It was about resilience and pride. So how should we remember Fernando Torres? As the prodigy from Madrid who carried Atletico on his back, as the Liverpool legend who lit up the Premier League, or as the man who fell under the weight of £50 million and still found a way to rise again? The truth is, he was all of them. At his peak, Torres was unplayable, fast, fearless and lethal. Between 2007 and 2010, no striker in the world could touch him, but what makes his story powerful isn't just the goals he scored, it's how he handled what came after. He didn't lash out, he didn't quit, he carried himself with dignity and grace. When he finally returned home to Atletico Madrid, it felt like a full circle. The kid who once gave them hope came back as a man to say goodbye, and today he's still there, working quietly with Atletico's academy, mentoring the next generation. The same energy, the same humility, just channeled into helping others find their way. He'll always be El Niño, the boy who chased a dream and kept running no matter what stood in his path. Fernando Torres was more than a footballer. He was a reminder of how fragile greatness can be, a story of talent, pain, redemption and pride. He was El Niño, unforgettable even when the world forgot. Thanks for watching Athlete Archives. If you enjoyed this story, give it a like, leave a comment with who we should cover next, and subscribe for more stories from the world of sport.